All right, so let's jump into our first topic. We're talking about Spider-Man potentially not being in the MCU anymore. But
Don't you
what?
mean we're gonna web sling into our first topic? I'll go
No,
now.
I did not mean that at all. I can assure everyone listening or watching that I did not mean that
Can
at
I
all.
leave now?
You can if you'd
I
like, but
think
Patchy
I
can
think
stay.
by popular demand I should leave.
Yes. Now, you know who should stay due to popular demand? Spider-Man in the MCU. So let's
That's true.
actually put these graphics up right now. Tom Holland is shocked to learn that apparently Disney and Sony could not reach an agreement from the looks of it. But here's the thing: before we even
Tom
get into
Holland is surprised Pikachu.
yes, before we get into some of the facts, I need to mention, and I really want to mention this and make this known because there's a lot of speculation online. Even if this deal does not go through, first of all, it's not confirmed that it hasn't gone through, but let's say that it doesn't, Tristan. That does not in any way mean that Tom Holland has to get recast as Spider Man. That does not mean that there can't be a third Spider Man movie by Sony in this universe. The key is that they cannot reference anything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yes, they
Right.
can't mention Tony Stark, which is frustrating, but also there's another dead person in Peter's life that he also mentions a lot. So there's nothing wrong with sliding in Uncle Ben back into that role. Also, yes, we do have Aunt May with Happy Hogan in a sense, but
Right.
that doesn't the way they played it, it's not going to be integral to a third movie if they wanted to do one.
Right.
Because this is the thing, the key with the contract is that Sony can only use Spider-Man characters or characters that are in Spider-Man's universe. So
Yeah.
every character that they made in that movie, unless perhaps Marvel slash Disney tries to say that that version of MJ isn't really Mary Jane, so you can't use her or something crazy like that,
Right.
technically they can use every character that they've created within these two films in a third one.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk about any spoilers that were in Far From Home, just in case someone hasn't seen it yet. But yeah, there were a lot of plot threads that's are. It's going to be very sad if those
That
cannot
would
be,
be gone.
if they don't make a have to recast. But again, they're not. No, but the thing is, not all the plot threads are going to be gone because again, these are Marvel. I'm sorry, these are Spider-Man characters.
Yeah.
But either way, let's get into the specifics in case some people have not heard. So no, because the specifics are is that there was a so Disney and Sony were negotiating on future rights to Spider-Man films. Now, the reason why this is very important and some might not know is that in the 90s, Marvel, not Disney at the time, Marvel had sold the rights to Spider-Man in film form to Sony. And under the contract, Sony had to basically make movies about every 2 to 3 years and had to continuously make new ones to keep the rights to Spider-Man. That's why we've had three freaking versions of Spider-Man at this point. Literally, dude, we've had Tobey Maguire, we've had Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield,
Yep.
and we now have Tom Holland because Sony needs to make them every few years or so. Otherwise, they just straight up would lose the rights.
Right.
So here's the thing, though. Even though Sony has paid Disney for that right, that doesn't mean that they get to do a carte blanche anything with the character. There is some, talks and negotiations, but usually it is up to Sony to do certain things with the character if they would like to.
Yeah.
So, but in this case, though, this was actually something where Marvel actually had a hand in creating this character with Kevin Feige, who's running the MCU right now, and also the fact that they got a 5% cut at the door, which meant that on the first day, depending on how much the movie made, they would get, not even depending on how much the movie made, they would get 5% of that. So if
Yeah.
it made $1 billion on the first day, it wouldn't, but if it did, they would get 5% of that billion. However, here's something that's funny too, though, Tristan. Marvel still has the rights to merchandise, no matter
But
what happens out of this. So really, look, I'm not saying that Disney didn't kind of overstep things by saying, hey, let's actually do things 50-50 now, because the quote is that apparently they had asked for 50-50 co-financing agreements
right.
for A. So what that means is not only would they be putting 50-50 into financing this, like putting the money down, they
Yeah.
would also be getting a 50-50 profit, which
Right.
some would say is greedy, but also to be fair, under Feige's vision, Far From Home has made the most money alongside Endgame for an MCU film to date.
Right.
So
obviously he's doing something right.
yeah, that's the thing. So because of the fact that Sony could be pulling away from Disney, or whatever way you want to refer to it as, Disney pulling away from Sony, Feige cannot work on it. So a third movie would be created without his input, which, again, some may consider a good thing, some may consider a bad thing. Again, box office says it's a good thing, and I do see a fair amount of the fans saying that it is a good thing that Disney is working on this version of the character. Question to you, Tristan. Before I have two questions. What do you think about this? And two, are you working on D&D stuff? Because if you are, that's dope. I'm just curious if you are. I can see it in the shot.
Oh, okay.
You thought I couldn't.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't think you actually... Can you actually see the notebook? Well,
yes. Well, you've been flipping it around, so I've been like...
I was just flipping through notes.
You're just taking notes on heroes.
Exactly.
You're a fanboy, aren't you?
And then you went and burned them and threw them in the lake.
Oh.
Yes, Matt. You.
Look, I'm going to take a drink of water. Before we get on to some more facts, Tristan, what do you think about this so far?
He's going to spit the water at me.
Good idea, bad idea? What are your thoughts?
And tell me I can't be a hero. At least Spider-Man will look out for me and say I can still be a true hero.
Mentally, I'm flipping you off.
I know. I can feel it. I can feel it through this empty screen. How's that water? That good water? That real good water? Okay, seriously though. Yeah, I am kind of saddened by this.
Well, remember, if this goes through, technically not officially.
If it actually goes through. It's funny, like, I've heard mixed things. I've heard some people actually be okay with this. But I've also obviously heard a lot of people like, no, why have you done this, my poor child? Like, I've really loved Tom Holland playing Spider-Man. Not that he couldn't still, but it would definitely make things a bit trickier. Yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying what's been coming out with Marvel and Spider-Man. I liked, the plot that they had set up.
Yeah,
I liked where it was going.
Yeah, look, so. I'm not saying that. By the way, I'm going to post this this article in the chat. If you guys are seeing this on our YouTube channel, it's in the description box down below already. Look, I'm going to say this, Tristan. Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of them focusing more on Stark and not even mentioning Uncle Ben in passing. It's just odd.
Yeah,
but that is, like, I don't know. This is still a teenage Spider-Man, so I understand, especially after the death of his Uncle Ben, he's going to be looking towards another hero as his idol.
Right.
And then something bad happens to your hero. Well, oof. But it still is odd to, with the fact that, again, we're building up to this, I'm going to stop living in the shadow. In a way, it's like I'm the next him, but not really. And now all of a sudden, the third one's not going to be able to mention him at all, potentially. Right. Now, here's what's interesting, though. Some people are saying, and this is, of course, pure speculation, that this may have been leaked by Disney as kind of a power play move because of the fact that if, it looks as if Sony is the one that pulled out, but then Sony came out and claimed, no, we actually did offer, we put something else on the table. Because, again, Disney said, let's do 50-50. And then they came out, again, Disney did not, officially say we put the statement out, but it was leaked. And then you have Sony going, with that leak, about that leak, we actually did offer some counter offers, but Disney didn't want to come to the table.
Right.
So it's interesting having these two conglomerates fighting each other kaiju battle style for the rights of this child.
Would it be a kaiju or like a mecha fight? Or would it be a hybrid of both?
Yes. One giant mouse versus a mecha spider, which legally can't be used. No, actually, it legally could. But still.
With like a PlayStation emblem on it.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, no, they destroyed the PlayStation Theater. So that's closing down, you told me, Tristan? Side note.
Yeah.
Is it? So it's confirmed?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Just a small story in a story. Because you told that to me right before we went on, and I was like, what? Anyway, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. quite frankly. Again, there could be some good changes to come from this character in future movies, but it would be frustrating if this is done just to introduce him or is a catalyst to introducing him to Venom and trying to act like that was always going to be a thing when really he was never going to interact with Venom. And also, what if Venom 2 does poorly?
Yeah.
So, like, it's just, I think, because now Sony, I think we talked about this a while ago, Sony is actually trying to, they're trying to make movies on other Spider-Man villains, like Kraven the Hunter or Morbius. And it's just kind of like, no, guys, don't do that.
Right,
but
yeah.
They want their own Spider-Man expanded universe, and it's like, no. It could work with something like X-Men because of how many characters are in X-Men. And of course, that's been done by Fox to a certain extent. But it can't be done with Spider-Man, in my opinion.
You don't have your main hero. It's kind of needed.
I mean, like, you could do a situation where it's... what is it called? It's other Spider-Man, either clones or kind of like an Into the Spider-Verse thing, but live action. Not with all of them crossing over, but like having a movie, what if Gwen Stacy was Spider-Man? Having a movie, what if it was noir Spider-Man and it's just Nicolas Cage? You know he voiced him over, right?
Oh, God.
In Into the Spider-Verse? We talked about...
I haven't seen... Well, yeah, you probably mentioned it. I still haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I need to.
I mean, heck, there was even talk of an animated Spider-Ham movie with John Mulaney, who voices him in Into the Spider-Verse. That would be great. But
I mean, I'd love to see more Into the Spider-Verse stuff. But...
Yes, and the thing is, that has nothing to do with Marvel. That's all Sony, to be fair. And that's good. Like, that was a good film.
Yeah,
but again, that's not always the case. I mean, I'm actually trying to slug through Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's really difficult. I've started and stopped watching this movie about 4 times already because it's just hard to slug through. And if that's the kind of quality that I'm going to get from a Spider-Man 3, I think that this was a great power play by Disney because, you know what? Look, I understand they want a lot of money, but also, to be fair, they're also co-financing it in this new agreement. I don't know if they currently are.
Right.
So, and if they currently are, then yeah, I understand why they'd be frustrated if they're co-financing it and then only getting 5% back, when clearly their work, in my opinion, is bigger than Sony's. Yes, Sony is marketing this thing, but you know what? They're putting in the creative effort to make it good enough for people to go see it and have that quality stamp. Now, I will admit, if this came up again after the third one, so if there's a third one, and then Disney, and then maybe there's a loss in revenue because it wasn't the one right after Endgame. Yeah. Maybe that happens. And then I can understand there being issues with negotiating between Disney and Sony.
Right.
But right now, I don't know. I just feel like Sony should sit back and go, you know what?
Kind of shooting themselves in the foot.
Yes. Very much, in my opinion, like the Netflix and Marvel situation with the Marvel television shows, where someone like you, Tristan, even though you live with family, so you get Netflix through family, and I do as well. If we didn't and we were paying for Netflix, taking that away from us on Netflix could end up killing our subscriptions if we were the ones putting money into it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, granted, I still went for Godzilla. The animated Godzilla movies that came out.
Movies or the TV show? Wasn't it a TV show?
No, the movies. We did reviews on them, man.
Oh, you mean the anime. Sorry, you said animated. That made me think of the Godzilla based off of Zilla.
Right, no.
No, yeah. No, of course.
That was a good cartoon show.
Yes, that's why I thought you were talking about that. I thought it was on Netflix. No. Those made us stay for those months, but they weren't... they were releasing... Netflix Marvel shows every 3 months at a certain point.
That's true.
So that would keep you going, especially then with Godzilla and other months, that would keep you staying. But after those 3 movies were done and over with, you could just cancel your subscription.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that Netflix content, that Marvel content kept people coming. And in this case, I feel as if other than Into the Spider-Verse, and it is a movie, I don't want to consider it an animated movie and say that, animated doesn't mean that it's a movie. No, it is. But when it comes to the live action side of things, I haven't seen Venom yet, but I feel as if Disney's hand in Spider-Man is what's helping it.
Yeah.
And Sony's just going to screw it up. And they really should, in this case, bite the bullet. And then if it doesn't, the third one doesn't do well, then come back to the table and say, look, we're going to be out unless this is changed up. Because here's the other thing, too. Now Sony's going to have to fund the whole thing by themselves for the third one.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
We'll see if, they could handle that.
Yeah.
I mean, probably, but...
No, they can handle it, but are they going to get a good ROI, a good return on investment? And yes, it is Spider-Man, but Marvel's seal of approval to some people really does matter.
Right, yeah.
After what Marvel has done over the years with their films. So yeah, again, as we're wrapping this story up, any other takes you have, Tristan?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it.
You think it's a mistake?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like I said, if they were to push more for like into the Spider-Verse stuff on Sony's end, like that would be a good way to go about it. But like
live action wise,
yeah, right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens from this. Again, this could all be turned on its head by the time this video comes out on our YouTube channel. Those guys on the radio. So yeah, we'll see what happens as time goes on, and of course, we will update you if you can when more news breaks on this topic. And of course, tell us down below what you think in the comment section or in the live chat.